Hey everybody, welcome to Samudra Shakti Online. My name is Lisa Long. I'm a certified Anusara teacher in Florida on the East Coast of the United States. So first off, Samudra Shakti Online started over a year ago now. We've been online hosting presenters once a month. It grew out of an event in Estes Park, Colorado in the fall of 2019. Where United States licensed teachers for the Anusara School of Hatha Yoga gathered. And this was our planning committee for the live event in Colorado in 2019. And this is the planning committee that brings you Samudra Shakti Online. Tonight, we have Jacalyn Prete, and she's teaching modern Ayurveda on and off the mat. She is a teacher trainer in the Anusara School of Hatha Yoga and a 500 ERYT. She shares a deep passion for wisdom and the teachings of yoga and the therapeutics with her students in New York City, Japan, China, Italy, Germany, and Belgium. She is truly an international teacher for Anusara School of Hatha Yoga. Jacalyn brings 29 years of teaching experience to her position as the co-founder, one of them, and the former certification director for Anusara School of Hatha Yoga. She's also a certified yoga health coach, and she shares the teaching of Ayurveda with students all over the world in her signature teleconference course, The Body Evolves. In addition, she's also a licensed massage therapist. So before I hand it off to Jacalyn, I'm going to stop this screen share. And Jacalyn, go ahead and open your mic. Welcome.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much. I'm so honored to see you. I have some of my students here from Manhattan. Thank you. I hope. And Annie and people from all over the country and all over the world. We have Maria here from Spain. Hola. So I'm very excited to talk about one of my favorite topics, which is Ayurveda. And I came to Ayurveda a little bit later in life. I've been teaching for 20 years when I found it. Let me do a little screen share here for y'all. And I thought Ayurveda was kind of a cool thing to study. You learn about your dosha, your constitutional type, and it's sort of like astrology. Well, I'm a Vata or I'm a Pitta. It's kind of cool to hear about it, and it has to do with the 5 elements. So this is yogic based, but I didn't realize how really powerful a practice this knowledge base of Ayurveda can really improve people's lives on a huge level. You know how you found yoga and your life changed and shifted, and then like Ayurveda is taking all the philosophy and the teachings of yoga and putting it in every aspect of your life, from how you feed yourself and how you take care of your body, a lot of self-care practices, and it really makes a huge difference. It just was so qualitatively a shift or an uplift of my habits, my health habits, that I started studying it for myself. And then I said, I've got to share it. It's like anything else. You get really enthusiastic. Everybody has to join you, right? So about 5 years ago, I became a health coach. And, my introduction to Ayurveda was through just doing a couple of cleanses. People are doing all these detoxes. And so I did a cleanse, and it felt really great. We bought a Vitamix, and we started doing green smoothies in the morning. And I felt this great, wonderful thing. It was like a week, 2-week cleanse. And I could see my habits going down after like week 4, go back to, the sugar or the whatever. And was, not eating in a rhythmic way, like eating in a certain schedule. And some of the symptoms I would have would be gas and bloating. And then it was about an 8 to 10 pound range, maybe up to even 15 at times. I'd go up in the winter and go down in the summer. And it's just like, what is going on with my body? It just felt like out of control. And then I decided to sign up for Kate Stillman's, my teacher's health coaching course. And she says, okay, now you've got to do this program. And her program is, now what I teach on for students. And it was an 10-week course. At the end of 10 weeks, I had lost 9 pounds, and I wasn't at all dieting. And I was like, what the heck? And students kept coming up to me going, what's going on? I'll have what you're having. And I wasn't ready to teach it yet. But I like 7 or 8 students came around and said, we'll just start doing whatever you're doing. We want to learn this. this is just my energy and my vitality, enthusiasm, and I felt really dramatically different. And so I started teaching it, and I've worked with around 80 people in the last 5 years, and it's been incredible to see what's shifted. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things that are this is a modern take of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is an ancient practice. It's 5,000 years old. It comes from the Vedas, Ayurveda. The Vedas are 5,000 years old. So it was a sister practice right along with yoga. So it was originated around the same time. And its definition is life science. And so, think about the different indigenous healing methods throughout our history. I'm sure you had a grandmother who said you should have, put this on your tummy and you're going to feel better, or you have this tea and you feel better. So when you don't feel well in Ayurveda, you go to your kitchen, you throw in some herbs, you make a tea or an infusion, or you eat certain foods, and your body starts to work more efficiently. So the modern take on, so this is the learning objectives of today. I only have 40 minutes, but so we'll see if we get to all of this. I'm always overly enthusiastic. We're going to learn a little bit about some of the vocabulary and what it means, like what is Ama, Ojas, and Agni. Ama is toxins that gather in your system when you don't have really good, healthy, clean digestion. And Ayurveda, it's all based on your digestion. I really joke with my students. I say, get ready. We're going to talk about your poop a lot. All right. So it's just like, how big is it? What does it look like? Like all this details about poop, because if you don't have healthy elimination, that means gunk is really, this ama is gathering in your cells. And that's what leads to disease, according to this methodology. What is Ojas? Ojas is the essential nature of all tissues. And when it's healthy, you're juicy. You know what to be juicy is like, your tissue is juicy. You ever I've got a 9-month-old baby in the family now. She's so juicy, like just like, like when you squeeze her, she's juicy, right? And as you get older, you're like me. Your skin gets dry and thin, right? This is not so juicy. So we're trying to build our ojas as we get older, which makes us age so much more gracefully. And we're also going to learn how to balance our Agni. And again, fire. Think of fire element. If you have weak digestion, weak fire, stuff just hangs out. You have sluggish energy, and you tend to gain weight. And if it's fire is too fiery, then you're the opposite. You're like, no, you can't even get the nutrients from your food because your digestion is so fast. So you want to have balanced Agni. And Dinacharya means, think of Charya, teacher, right? The daily rhythm. And when you're in the daily rhythm, your body heals itself. If you have excess weight, it just disappears, goes off, it's amazing. And to also discover your own dosha. So I'm just going to give you some ways of doing that. So my story, again, I started doing these cleanses, and I started this health coaching course with Kate, and I learned these habits. There were 10 habits, and I started mastering them, teaching them. And who would know, a year later, I had this huge bike accident. Some of you know me. I had this incredible bike accident in 2016, and I shattered the top of my tibia. I'm in my rehab section here. This is about 3 or 4 months after the accident, and it took me a long time to get back. But I'll tell you what helped me heal. Now, what helped me heal? This is right at the beginning there. What helped me heal from this incredible accident? I mean, we didn't really know how this leg was going to heal. With the shattering of the top of the tibia and reconstruction of that leg, we just really didn't know. And I think the daily rhythm of eating at the same time, having the same amount of sleep every night, eating at the same time, sleeping a regular time, and doing my practices. All I could do at this stage, before I could lay down on the floor and do a bridge with one leg, was pranayama practice and meditation. I did some chanting, and that was it, and really just nourishment, really good nourishment. So having that experience of going through a big trauma and having these tools, I just want to share this with everybody. It's like, holy crap, we've been through the year of hell right here in the world. And if it can heal this trauma, it can heal people coming back from COVID, or really preventing us from getting, strengthening our ojas actually protects us from getting viruses or getting susceptible to them, hopefully. So in old Ayurveda is very classical. It's based on the subcontinent of India's, what comes up in their ecosystem. So we've modernized it by saying, well, what's coming up locally here in your ecosystem? And, what is the climate, right? So we're not in a subtropical climate. So the herbs and the spices and, the foods that we're going to take in are coming from, where we live, wherever that is, right? So we've taken the basic teachings of Ayurveda and modernized them. And we've added things like intermittent fasting and cryotherapy because we're taking in new information. It's not like we're discarding Ayurveda, but like I love to have green smoothies in the morning. Sometimes in the winter it's a little cold, so I'll have a warm cereal, but green smoothies in the morning just infuse your cells with all this incredible nutrition first thing. And those of us who, tend to have some cravings the rest of the day, like sugar or a lot of carbohydrates, if you have a green smoothie with water and vegetables and fruit, your body's going to start craving. You can actually change your microbiome. So your microbiome will start to ask for that kind of nutrition the rest of the day instead of, having donuts or, pancakes or whatever. Okay. So we focus on the daily and seasonal rhythms versus, the foods that come from the subcontinent. We synchronize our culture versus what is traditional to Ayurveda. And we also know that change takes time. We'll gently close the gap between our ideal and where we are. And in the system I've learned, you take little baby steps towards your ideal. Could take a whole year to change your habits around sleep. I have people come to me and they're night owls. I've been night owls for 40 years, 60 years. How am I going to change my night owlness? That's who I am. They identify and we start to change their identity and they see that their lives start to feel so much more vibrant and their Ojas comes in and they're feeling sexy for the first time in 20 years. It's like, oh, maybe this is something here. Maybe I should look into that. So you want to make your lives better, more conscious about our habits. So one of the, we talk about the teachings of yoga, abhyasa and vairagya, steadiness of practice and non-attachment to the fruits of your efforts. So if you're so focused on the goal, I've got to get that 25 pounds off. And if you're not getting it, you're feeling like a failure. But wow, you shifted how your body is taking in nutrition and your sleep. I mean, there's so many great benefits. So you don't have to worry about, am I doing it the right way? Is it perfect? We go a little incrementally step by step. And I want you to take this, if you have a piece of paper, write this down, Banyan Botanicals info /dosha/quiz. If you just go to banyanbotanicals.com, it's on the front page, dosha quiz. So if you'd like to take the quiz to find out what your dosha type, it's really important. And going forward, you'll know what things to avoid and what the whole purpose of learning your dosha is. Like your dosha is associated with a different element. Like if you're kapha, you're more earth, water. I'm vata, I'm air and fire, or vata pitta. And so like creates more like. So say you have an abundance of vata and then you do practices and eat foods that bring you more ungroundedness. That's exactly the opposite of what you need. You need grounding practices, grounding foods to balance your dosha. So that's what you learn in this. And here's a little chart of the time. So if you have a camera and you want to go, you have a couple of these slides you'd like to keep and have for yourself, go right ahead. So the one I want you to really think about is this pitta time of day. When should we be eating? And it's between the hours, the most amount of food is between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's when the fire of your digestion is strongest. So if we can align with the Dinacharya, the way the different times of day are associated with different elements. Vata is more early morning, like right from 2 a.m. to sunrise. And that's, if you get up before sunrise, that's the best time to meditate and to really like connect to your higher purpose. Because that's called the Brahma Murta. That's where you connect to spirit. So if you wake up in kapha time, this is already heavy earth, water, and you're already in your to-do list for the day. Oh, I gotta do my laundry, and then I'm gonna go shopping, and then in kapha time, it's a great time to do some practice. Wow. So you've gotten up in vata time, you've meditated, And then kapha time, you can do your yoga practice. That's when you can do your exercise. Now, some people have jobs, stuff like that. So have to work these things around 9 to 5 kind of job. But then, and pitta time, this is so important. From 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., if you get the majority amount of food that you're going to eat, like your big giant meal at lunch versus your big giant meal at 8 p.m., you have the enzymes in your body to process and metabolize your food. If you eat a huge meal at night and then go right to bed, ama coming on all your cells, coating your cells don't communicate. This is the beginning of breakdown of the body. This is why people have chronic allergies. This is why people have headaches, like migraine headaches, and irritable bowel syndrome. They're out of rhythm with nature. So what do we want? And then in the afternoon from 2 p.m. to sunset is vata time to start working your mind and your creativity and having meetings and doing the work. And then comes sunset, you should be eating your meal right around sunset. I know that's pretty early this time of year, but you should, from like sunset, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock latest, finish a lighter meal. This is like based on agrarian times, right? When we were farmers, we'd have our big meal at lunch, right? The farmers would come in, they'd have a little breakfast, they have this huge, huge lunch. Maybe they'd even take a little siesta after that, and then they go back to work, right? And all they do for dinner was take whatever leftovers are from lunch and throw it in a pot with some water. They'd make a soup or a stew and a very light supper. And those guys would be in bed by 9 o'clock because they're getting up at 4 o'clock, right? So that's the rhythm that we ideally should be in. We should be in bed by 10. Why is that? Because 10 p.m. starts pitta again. Why do you get that second wind at night if you stay up past 10 o'clock doing the Netflixing, right? Because that's when your mind starts to go again, right? Your body is in a cleansing mode. If you are asleep by that time, your body can clean itself. This, according to Chinese medicine, this is when the gallbladder liver kicks in. And so if you're up or you're snacking, right, your body is still digesting. Or if you had that late meal at 8 o'clock, you're digesting instead of taking out the garbage. If that makes any sense. So this is the pitta is fire element, vata, space, air, and kapha, water, earth. And we want to learn to balance those doshas. Vata is the king of doshas. It sets the rhythm for all the other doshas. So we all have a little bit of all three of these. Very few people are tridoshic, which are even all around. Most of us have one or two that are prominent and one that is smaller. And so the vata is in charge of moving the heat and the fluid of kapha. If you don't have enough vata energy in you, what happens is you can get sluggish or really fiery and nothing. There's no movement, right? There's no movement. Think of like there's a room without any air or flow of wind, right? The vata types tend to love change and resist routine, and that's exactly what balances vata people. It hangs out in the large intestine, and so when things go out of whack, they get constipated or the other way, right? Just diarrhea, and it's the energy of catabolism, which means they have trouble usually gaining weight, right? So they're those like Madhuri, I'm sure you're vata, right? You're vata and pitta, yeah. Now our pitta people these are the leaders. They're intelligent. Think of like the light of pitta, light, fire, right? You can see, they have vision, they know what their goal is, they go after it. A lot of fire behind them, right? Think of the energy of friction that creates heat and burns the heavier elements. It's the element of transformation, right? So they tend to move full throttle, putting their vision into action, and they can get burned out, right? So where pitta lives is in the small intestine, liver, and in the eyes. And sometimes they have eye problems. They have, maybe their digestion's too fast, and they have loose bowels, and they're not getting the nutrition they need because it's so fast. So that's metabolic, right? And then kapha, this is our earth, water element. These are people who tend to put on weight, right? So they have a little slower metabolism. So think of fluid nourishment and lubrication. By the way, kapha is like If you have a lot of kapha, you have a usually pretty healthy body. They're really sturdy and they have incredible endurance. If you can get them off the sofa, they continue to go way beyond, further than the vata. They just want to keep going. They're like that. They just move and move and move and move. They're the heavier elements. Think of cohesion, things that bring things, stuff together, like water and earth together. Think of mud, right? A cohesive energy, right? So they're grounded. They're a feeling of safety and well-being. If you're around kapha people, you always feel taken care of and nourished. They're your best friends, right? Kapha lives in the stomach and the lungs and the sinuses. So if they get like heavy sinuses, they can have like gas in their stomach or burning in the stomach, sometimes acid in the stomach. Acid in the stomach is also pitta. And they have a lot of sinus issues, like allergies, etc. So this is more anabolic. They have a tendency to put on. Actually, each one of these doshas happens at different times of life. Vata, I'm in vata time of life. That means I'm postmenopausal. Pitta is the middle years. That's the metabolic years. That's you're in your adult phase. You're maybe having children, or your children are now going to college. And kapha is in the earlier stage of life. Kapha stage of life is children. They're growing, right? They're growing intellectually and physically. But we also have these constitution types. Annie's in this picture. Hey, Annie. Dinacharya, daily rhythm. You want to go to bed early. This really sets up your day for the next day. I always say, when you stay up late, you're borrowing tomorrow's energy by staying up late tonight. Okay, stay up late, but you're going to have less juice for tomorrow, right? So you want to wake up and pee, scrape your tongue. You get all those little metal tongue scrapers that are stainless steel. You scrape from back to front 7 times, rinsing in between. Look what's on your tongue. What's on your tongue is on your entire gut. If you have really thick, gunky, yellow, smelly stuff on your tongue, guess what's on your digestion? Ama. That's a lot of toxins in your system. And your digestive, all your energy is going to try to get that stuff through your gut instead of in your creativity or other things that you want to do in your life. So this is what you do in the morning. In the morning, you hydrate. You have 2 to 3 to 4 glasses of water, either room temperature, or I put it in a teacup. I put it in my teapot, half hot water, half room temperature water, and you chug it. This is like a flush. Don't think of, I have to sip, sip, sip. You could sip the warm water the rest of the day, but in the morning, chug this water, 2 to 3 glasses. Think of flushing your whole channel, right? And you want to have complete bowel movement before eating breakfast. That's your ideal. That might take you 6 months to get there, but you start working on it, right? Prana, move your body. You want to move your ama from your joints. This is where you do some yoga. You maybe do some jumping jacks. There's something called the 7-minute workout if you only have 7 minutes. Sometimes I'll take the garbage downstairs and I'll walk up 7 flights of steps, or I'll go out and run around the neighborhood for a little bit. Usually it's walking fast for me. Get serious about meditation. Starts with 1 to 3 minutes a day if you're not a meditator. I think one of us is leading a workshop next month on meditation, so she can talk about that, how to get people started. We start really and really get people, if you got students who are new to meditation, short meditations to start with, because you want to do it so you can't say no. Everybody has a minute to start doing meditation. Then you start to build it. Next week it's 2, next week it's 3 minutes, right? And at the end of the day, you want to, after you're having your huge lunch, right, you want to have a small supper is supplement. Your largest meal is at lunch when your digestion fire is at the max. Very important to build our Ojas, the fluid essence of our tissues that helps to build our immune system, is the adequate sleep. There's all kinds of surveys and studies done about sleep. Fewer than 6 hours sleep is low-grade inflammation and worsening insulin resistance. Just think about it. You're really weakening your system, and especially right now, this is the time to get more sleep than less. It impairs your memory and your ability to handle stress and to moderate your emotions. I don't know if some of you are living with family members or kids in the house and you've got a lot to do and a lot of responsibilities. Better get your sleep, right? Not enough rest is associated with chronic illness, psychiatric disorders like depression and anxiety. So what I always, my teachers taught me this, and when I'm working with people, KAIZEN approach, when you're working with yourself, trying to get yourself to change your habits. A lot of us know what to do. I can't get myself to do it. What do I do? So you this is KAIZEN, comes from Japanese culture, and it was done in factories in Japan, I guess, during World War II. And everybody put in little suggestions on a daily basis how to make their job a little more efficient. And this became a part of the culture, and this is how Japanese businesses do so well. Small incremental changes on a daily basis. So that's what you want to think about. These small steps lead to major changes in your health, right? An example is to start with a 1-minute meditation, then start adding, by the end of 10 weeks, you can get yourself up to even 10 or 15 minutes. Somebody who was like, I'm going out of my mind listening to my busy mind, after 10 weeks of adding 1 or 2 minutes a week, wow, you're already up to 5-10 minutes, and you're really comfortable. You're not like, I think I want to have a longer meditation, right? Instead of like forcing people to sit down for 20 minutes when they're first starting and they're out of their mind, they're going to quit after day 2, right? Go to bed 15 minutes earlier tonight, moving slowly towards your ideal bedtime of 10. That's a KAIZEN. That's an example of a KAIZEN approach. So I get people into my courses. They're going to bed at 2 a.m. 1:45 tonight. Can we get that going? And little by little, these same people who are night owls, they can't stay up past midnight anymore. They're getting naturally tired, even though they resisted doing it, because their body, they start to learn to listen to their body. That's what it is. It's tuning in. That's the yoga. Doesn't this all sound like yoga, right? Make dinner 15 minutes earlier tonight. So if your your dinner time was at 9, 8:45 tomorrow, right? Just have the intention of moving towards the ideal, because we know, I was so used to having gas after I eat. I thought everybody had gas after they ate. And once I changed my earlier dinner time, my stomach started getting actually hungry in the middle of the night if I woke up, and I'm like, oh, isn't this interesting? It's something called autophagy. Have you guys heard of this? AUTO, phagy, PHAGY. Google it. Your body eats itself in all the right ways. You're going to fat metabolism when you're doing intermittent fasting. We'll talk about that in a minute. What is AMA? Here is the symptoms. Do I have AMA? Does any of this sound familiar? Laziness, drowsiness, or weakness. Depression or irritability. Yes. Joint stiffness upon rising, general pain in the body. Loss of appetite. Heaviness in the stomach after eating. Gas, constipation, bloating, excessive burping, a coating on the tongue, bad breath, and smelly perspiration, like really strong odor. You're not getting complete elimination. Dull skin and eyes, cloudy urine, presence of mucus in the stool or stool that does not float. If it goes to the bottom of the toilet, that means it's probably been in there a little too long. Slight fever, right? Okay, let's discuss now what makes good digestion that takes care of your AMA. I want to get this crap out of me, literally. Right? So what is it? So digestive fire, there's different, I'm not going to get into all the details of it. There's different kinds of Agni. One is balanced. That's the one we want. Sometimes it's too fiery, sometimes it's too sluggish, but we want to have a really balanced. So the Agni is the digestive and metabolic energy created by the doshas, your constitution, Pitta, Vata, Kapha, that transforms nourishment into forms that are used by the body. So if you have low Agni, you can be eating fantastic food, but your body can't use it. It can't metabolize it. Does that make sense? When your Agni is balanced, you have good digestion. Your tongue is pink. You pulse between real hunger and great satiety, right? You poop after you're drinking your water in the morning, and you have good, consistent energy all day long. You don't fall asleep around 4 o'clock. When your Agni is low, tongue has white gunk, sluggish digestion, bloating, constipation, low energy. You crave unhealthy foods, right? You eat sporadically. Sometimes you miss a meal. Sometimes you eat a huge meal late at night. When the Agni is too fiery, you have acid indigestion, reflux, GERD. You're digesting so fast you can't assimilate the nutrients from your food. So you're always hungry. Those people they have what we call hangry, right? You can't miss a meal. And they have runny bowels. We need the fire to be just right. Okay. What is Ojas? Now this, to me, that I could speak all night on this Ojas, and maybe that'll be another topic one day. But it's the pure essence of all bodily tissues. It's the essence that it's related to both our vitality and our immunity. You know how honeybees collect the essence of flowers? Ojas maintains the natural resistance in all body tissues. It's the essence of all the body tissues. Helps to fight aging, decay, and disease. Sign me up, right? I want some of this. Where do I buy this Ojas? Right? Can you sell it on the internet? No, you gotta actually do the practices, then you can build it. It is protoplasmic. It's biological substance. Albumin, globulin, and many of the hormones are made up of this. Ojas includes the endocrine, circulatory, skeletal, muscular, and digestive systems. It's the source of your power, your strength, and your natural resistance against illness. This is what we need right now, right? Our natural immunity. Immunity depends on the quality of your digestion. Can you see how this works together, you guys? You have slow, sluggish digestion. You're eating the wrong foods at the wrong time, out of rhythm with nature. Everything goes out whack, right? It has to do with the liver function and the integrational function of all of the endocrine system, how it communicates to each other. When you have ama, the cells they have like little coats on. They can't talk to each other. Then the organ systems don't talk to each other. This is called diabetes. This is called immune disorders. There's so many more immune disorders now than there was 20 years ago. It's kind of scary. So the strength of your ojas is which determines whether internal or external factors can create disease, and it's influenced by your Agni. They all come together. Your Agni, your Ojas, and that ama, how you take care of your ama. I'm missing the time. Okay, I'm looking at the time. This is a really cool thing, and I'm just looking at the time, and I can't read it all, but it's a winter guide I got from my sweet Kate Stillman. You want to take a picture of it? I'll hold it here for a second. It's like you want to focus on hydrating in the winter. You want to oil your nostrils and your skin. And we use in Ayurveda, we don't use lotions because lotions is oil and water. The only way to get those two to mix is chemicals. And you're taking chemicals. Your skin is an organ. It's the biggest organ in your body. It takes in those chemicals. That could be endocrine disruptors that you're putting on your skin that goes into your system and then messes with your thyroid. Don't put lotions on. I use cold pressed sesame oil for me because I'm Vata. You could also use coconut oil or jojoba oil if you really got oily skin. It's a lighter oil. Focus on stillness, silence, and sleep. That means meditation, sleep, really taking care of yourself. Move your body, especially in the winter, like we get more sedentary, right? When you go out, cover your neck, and while you do that, please your face right now. The foods that you want to eat in the winter are warm, mushy foods like soups and stews. Spice it up. This is good for your digestion. Cayenne, turmeric, cardamom, cloves, cinnamon. Spices add nutrients and ease digestion of heavy foods. Like if you're eating heavier in the winter, right, than we do in the other times. Ferment and sprout. You can sprout in your own house. You can get a sprouter. Fermented foods are really good for your gut. I'm talking kimchi and sauerkraut and miso. That's all great. Lube it up. Really get yourself. And if you get sick, stick to the above advice. Get a spicy liquid diet and drink a lot of hot fluids. So that's the little winter. And here's a little quote from one of the gurus of habit change that we learned from. Habits reflect who you are. Start believing new things about yourself It's the in the identity evolution is what's going to help you change your habits. If I am a night owl, identify as a night owl, I'm going to stay a night owl my whole life. Start believing new things about yourself. The key to building lasting habits is focusing on creating a new identity. And when your current behaviors are simply a reflection of your current identity, what you do now is a mirror image of the type of person you believe you are. Like, so if you believe I am a person who always puts on weight, you're creating that. I'm a person who is working on my Agni and my Ama, etc. So this is my little offer, and then we're going to go into, I timed it perfectly. I had more to talk about, but it's okay. My gift for you for coming today, and I do have some more information I want to give you before we go into question and answer, is that I love talking about this stuff. And it's not about you signing up for my course. If you want to sign up for a course, that's great. But this is like, I get an opportunity to talk to you about Ayurveda. That just makes my day. So take advantage of this. This is my my email address.
Jackie, I wanted to talk a little bit about Dinacharya and
Sure.
and the time frame of 10 to 2
Okay,
and
let me put that
how
up
to
there.
make those adjustments during like daylight savings time. I remember, I've had the pleasure of studying with different Ayurveda physicians over the years, and one of the latest ones that I studied with, he said, you've got to start calculating solar noon, because 10 to 2 is, like shifts. And that was fat. That's like that was like a little crazy, like every day to be thinking about solar noon versus
I wouldn't
noon of
worry
the
about it.
clock.
I'll tell you, Lisa, that you eat when you're hungry is one of the rules.
Yeah.
I'll put this back up so you guys can see the Dinacharya again chart. Is eat when you're hungry. Like sometimes I get up really early, and then I'll have my my green smoothie, and I've done my yoga, and around 10 o'clock, that second breakfast they have in Italy, I'm starving, so I will have maybe a little warm cereal then. Now I'm not going to be hungry till probably around 2 o'clock. Now I might have a huge lunch at 2 o'clock. So my fire. I'm really hungry, so I have very little appetite I might even skip dinner. I might have a little bone broth for dinner because I've had such a huge lunch and it's so late. So I'm not exactly on the same schedule every day, even though Vata is good for that. It's like really listening to your hunger satiety cycle. That's where you're going to get this from. This is a range. Now, if you're eating a second breakfast and then a really late lunch, don't make the late lunch 4 o'clock. If you're going to, don't skip lunch, right? Have maybe a medium lunch if you don't have a huge appetite, and then a kind of medium dinner. But you're trying to have less calories and less don't eat if you eat meat or fish, have that as your lunch versus, because you have more of the enzymes for digestion at that time. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Yeah, about I think it is very similar to our yoga practices, isn't that it's teaching us to listen a little bit more closely to ourselves.
Right. And here's what I'm trying to say about the yoga off the mat, on the mat. Because if you start to have self-care and have the structure of self-care, like a morning ritual routine, I get up, I scrape my tongue, I hydrate, I meditate. I put my connection to the divine, or whatever you want to call it, consciousness before I start listening to, the media, the emails, and the to-dos of the day, or what my family needs me to do. If I connect to spirit first, then I feel so nourished, I feel so centered, then whatever comes at me that day, I am ready for it. But if I just go right into I've overslept, I can't meditate, I get a little breakfast, then run out the door for some kind of, crazy meeting when that used to happen. You're catching up with yourself all day long, and you've never connected to the bigger picture. And that's really yoga. It's like when you take the time, the people who always plan a little too little time to get from appointment to appointment. And when we were doing that kind of crazy running around stuff, It's like when you put the buffer of there, I know it's going to take me an hour and a half to get from my house to that to be prepared to teach or whatever. You know, you have that buffer. You've planned your day to have the spaciousness so that you're not one thing doesn't back up into another. And that's that self-nourishing. That's yoga. That's yoga of, scheduling your time and with space around it. So you don't have that, you're not orienting yourself towards stress. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yeah, I know sometimes, reapproaching or approaching an Ayurvedic lifestyle can feel overwhelming, right? A lot of tips, a lot of information. So maybe, in your, minute wrap, helping people not feel like that this would be an overwhelming step to take.
Don't think about perfection because then you're like, oh, ugh, I can't do this. So my advice to you is take baby steps, get the book, give me a call. Let's just chat about it. I'd love to support you in your journey. And it may be just recommending some books, some free, there's free stuff on my website, jacalynprete.com. There's free stuff on my teacher's website. I just want to support you in exploring this because it made such a difference in my life. And I want to see the same thing. All of us have vibrant, healthy lives and be aging gracefully. That's my dream for all of you. So thank you for coming tonight and chatting.
Thank you, Jacalyn. Thank you for joining us tonight for Samudra Shakti Online. I'm going to stop the screen share so we can just get a final good night from Jacalyn.
Thank you, everybody. It was really fun to talk about my passion with people who are interested, and I don't know, I got a buzz from you guys as well. So thank you so much. JacalynPrete.com. You can read more about what I do, and you can also reach me through that as well. And it's JACALYN Prete PRETE.com. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful evening and or whatever time of day it is when you're seeing this. And I hope to hear from you soon because I really do want to talk to you. It would be really fun. All right. Take care, everybody. There's a heart for you too. Thanks, Annie, for coming. Bye, everybody. Oh, Ellison. Hi. Mwah. Thank you. See you soon.